Hello everyone, good morning. I have been tempted already to open this, so I wanted to show you the beautiful wrapping. This is a new deck, and this is Tarot of the Cat People. And I got this from a lovely little shop on Etsy. They have a lot of other tarot cards, so I'll mention them in the comments below. So this deck is beautiful, from the 80s. It's sci-fi, fantasy. It's all about the sort of idealized world on this other planet where all beings, all people coexist peaceably and with cats. Maybe not peaceably. They actually have wars, but they exist with the environment, I should say. They exist in harmony with the earth and with cats. And maybe they still battle each other. But we're going to find out about that in a minute. I just wanted to show you some of these beautiful cards here. Wheel of Fortune, Strength, Hanged Man, Death, Temperance. Ooh, the Fool. Lovers. Gorgeous. Very Klimt-like. So I love the art of this, and I love the sort of feeling of like early civilizations and multicultural wisdom coming through here. So we're just going to learn about what is going to be the way forward for today and into this. We're in Pagan New Year, which is, it starts on April 1st. So happy Pagan New Year. So our first card is going to be, ta-da, 5 of Swords, and followed by the 5 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords. So these actually have a lot in common because we have 2 swords and we have 2 fives. And fives are sort of symbolic of like, it's not quite it's not quite an even split. Like there's something that's pushing something one way or the other. In this first card, we have the warrior king, and we can see his amazing hat. He has regalia. He has all the signs of a victorious leader, and yet he has a bit of nervousness, I would say, almost like he's like feeling really testy. Like, don't F with me. The 2 cheetahs below are looking loving, and they're like, can we just coexist? Can we all just kind of get along? And he's like, no, war is the answer. We must be strong. So I guess like thinking about like where you've been coming from, like maybe you've been taking an aggressive stance, and maybe you felt like you needed to assert your opinion, your ideas, and hold your ground. And this is very Aries energy. We're in the Aries sun sign territory now, and Aries is all about being super furiously determined to move forward and get your goals, your agenda. It's a very productive card. I mean, very productive sign, and it's connected with the planet of Mars, which is a war planet. So it can be very hot-headed, it can be very temperamental, but it can also be very strong and just very like centered and like I know what I need, I know what's right for me, I know what I know, since a sense of not apologizing for who you are. I'm thinking about my grandmother who was an Aries. She had a lot of fire in her. She was a petite woman. They called her Shrinking Violet when she was little. She, though, made up for her size with all the fury and determination and willpower, and she got through a lot of things. So Great Depression and polio and poverty, and made a good life for herself. So sometimes standing your ground, the sense of determination, the sense of will really pushes us forward. And sometimes it comes through a little aggressive, a little harsh. So just knowing that areas you've been harsh, looking at the cheetahs, you could also find a way through that is loving and also strong. So holding onto that rock, the little cheetah has its little paw on the rock. It's like holding your ground, being strong, and also know the cheetahs, they're touching the sword tip, so they're like saying like we also are vulnerable to being harmed. Like these swords are sort of hovering, like more like concepts really, and they're like anything we put out there, we're bound to get back. So thinking about not being too overly aggressive, just holding our ground, stating firmly and clearly what our boundaries are, and also being a little bit, staying a little bit soft and holding our ground from that sense of vulnerability, because like knowing that I can be harmed too. Sometimes in trying to stake our claims, set our firm line, we can unwittingly cross others' boundaries and come off really intense and harsh. So the way forward through that is to just remember that even though we feel like we know everything in the situation, there's always a higher wisdom, and not to surrender our power, but just to hold open always a sense of gentle curiosity or humility, if you will, about a larger wisdom, and knowing a deeper wisdom that will come to us with age and time and through love. So the rocks representing here age and time and the ground that we stand on, and it being really important. Like he's firmly planted on this rock, and maybe he's not even appreciating how the rock itself is supporting him. And you can see one of the rocks is the shape of a moon, and it's the shape of a waxing crescent, and it also looks a little bit like an eye. So intuition, like he's almost like blocking the understanding of the connection with the earth and the intuition and everything that got him here, everything that gave him his wealth, his power, his prestige, like all that he's enjoying comfortably came at a price. So the animals are very much an appreciation of that, and we're not sure that he is. He's wearing this like cheetah cloak, and we're hoping that's full fur, bro, but it doesn't look like it. So maybe they're saying like, you know what, maybe you don't have to take as much to feel powerful and regal and like you're living in this lap of luxury, but at what cost, right? So the next card, this is almost in polar opposite. Like he has all this riches and regalia, and this poor traveling woman has lost everything. She's even lost her cat. This was her like companion animal, and you can see she's in grief and mourning. She still has some jewelry to show us that she came from somewhere. She came from somewhere important and maybe was shut out. So this represents a part of ourselves that we've cut off or been cut off from. So vulnerability here, our shadow, our sense of what we're not allowing ourselves to feel, the grief, the loss of the world, and also the image of the cat and the pentacle above is an indicator that there is hope here, and that it's not exactly visible to us. So this way of her being in grief and this weight that she's feeling up upon her is a sense of the importance of like feeling whatever it is we have to feel, and realizing it's not going to necessarily destroy us the way we fear it might. Even though I've lived through grief and it really can feel like everything in your life has been taken away. Like you can see there's still those rocks that's supporting her, even a cave. She has still some kind of shelter behind her. And it's pointing the way up. So the earth is saying, like, pay attention to the earth, and it will shine the way through. The light above has the cat spirit, and so connecting again to that. So letting our shadow be seen, come into the light a little bit, and recognizing that our shadow is like the parts of ourselves that we need to heal. It's not a bad thing. It's just like the less visible parts of ourselves. And this little five of cats is showing that, like, even though all feels lost and all feels dark sometimes, that there is a light, and there's still so much protection and shelter and so much to hold on to help support us through this time. And so this poor kitty is so sad. So then we have the Eight of Swords. And this is a beautiful image of a woman dressed in a, like, indigenous. She looks like Native American, but obviously it's another planet. So she's I would say she's an earth protector. She's a guardian. She's a watcher. She has her feet on the ground. Her dress is simple and elegant and beautiful. She also has gorgeous jewelry, and so it represents like an highly advanced, intelligent culture that's also one and unified with the earth. And her cat here is perched precariously on top of this sword. So the Eight of Swords is typically about feeling trapped, feeling like we have nowhere to go, feeling the pressure of, like, the news and the crises around us, in a sense that we can't lay down our burden, that she's like holding on to the sword. And yet the sword is also part of what's keeping her penned in. So how a sense of concern, anxiety can grow. Like, there are actually studies done on this, as certain people who are like creative and artistic, when they see a spider, and I'm sorry, I'm talking about spiders if you're freaked out about this. Some people can't even hear about them. It's really wild. But like when you see that unpleasant thing, that it magnifies itself in your imagination compared to people who are maybe not as artistic. So it's something interesting about certain creative minds, that they can like zoom into beautiful details, and it can really be supportive for creative work. And when used inappropriately, it can actually magnify what we don't want. So the sense of danger here is magnified for her, but she has so many gifts and so much beauty, and connecting to nature, connecting to like her cat has like this vision. It's just like looking forward. It's like, I can see the way through here. And so maybe some part of you is recognizing that there is more than what you're aware of currently, but you still have a sense that it's not safe, and I need to really defend myself and really put up my arms. But these can also give you a sense of being penned in. So having a little bit of a sense of just like coming back down to earth. The Eight of Swords means that the swords are kind of an overwhelming number here. Like there's an overwhelming sense of a lot of swirling, just sort of like dangers. So that's not surprising given the situation we're in. But moving forward, that's going to be really restricting. So being aware of them, like staying in a place where your eyes are open, and like the cat, like it's keeping watch. Like just trust that your intuition actually is the best guide here, and you're actually blocking your intuition when you're giving into these sense of anxieties and swirling chaos and conspiracies or whatever it is that you're hearing on the news. Like, better to focus your energies, right? Sorry. Having a little bit of inner turmoil myself. I need to eat some breakfast. So this beautiful card is a reminder that we have a lot at our disposal. Like all these swords Like, could be bartered, could be turned into something useful, but instead they're kind of making a prison. So don't let your fears trap you, uh, keep you in a sense that there's nothing possible for you. Like, what she really needs to do here is make a little space and lie down and rest on this earth. But maybe she actually can't. Maybe she really needs our help. So showing up for each other when we hear of others who are feeling overwhelmed and stuck and a sense of being oppressed, or when we witness someone being oppressed, or their rights being trampled on, or their sense of boundary safety not being respected, their sense of sovereignty not being appreciated, like that, this is our opportunity to use our voice as well. Like, she's got a sword, she's like, I can handle this, but it would really be helpful if she had a bunch of allies, sisters, coming up and just grabbing each sword with her. Then she wouldn't be so hemmed in. So thinking about how we can show up for each other going forward, and really listening to our intuition, our animal guides. I love this cat. It's just like really got this amazing little, it's so fierce. Yes. So know that your fears are badass, and your dreams, may they always be bigger than your fears. Oh, look who came to join us for Cat Tarot. I know, do you have anything to say about it? No. All right, so that concludes our reading. Thank you, and show up for each other. Don't give in to despair. And remember to keep a balanced perspective of what is worth holding on to, and what is just hoarding, what is just like holding too much. Like, what can we clear out, and what can we feel, and what can we make space for and be vulnerable with in order to heal, and not let that sense of hopelessness cloud the future, because the way forward is to be badass. Look at this beautiful cat. I love it. Thank you for joining me today.